confirmed many years later in a rather unexpected manner. Sometime in 1990s, Nilima, Bhalchandra's daughter, decided she needed her birth certificate, but since she was abroad, I applied for a copy of the birth certificate on her behalf. The copy I received stunned me, for it mentioned Bhalchandra Atmaram Gokan rather than Bhalchandra Raghunath Karnad as the father of the child. It took some investigation before one unraveled the fact. When Bhalchandra's wife had come to her parents in Dharwad to deliver her child, one of the Gokan brothers had gone to register her birth and had used his own name and not Karnad. He had simply ignored the Karnad part of the tale, recorded the birth as an event in the Gokan family. And for 4 decades, his mischief lay hidden in the municipal files, cocking a snook at the Karnad. It is to celebrate birth, marriage or death that an Indian family most often and willingly gathers its members together. It is through the laughter, tears and rituals occasioned by these collective moments that the family declares the strength of the bonds that continue to bind it together. The problem is that this sudden coming together of members, otherwise far separated, also has the capacity to bring out long suppressed resentments, tensions and anger. In 1978, father expired at my house in Dharwad at the age of 90. Both Bhalchandra and Vasant, that's my elder brother, both rushed down from Bombay to be with us. Father was an atheist and couldn't stand Vedic Brahmins. "You're not to let those rascals into the house in my name when I die," he had admonished me. "And I'm not going to return in the form of a crow to accept any oblation." Accordingly, his funeral took place without any religious rites. Bhalchandra lit the funeral pyre. But mother felt that while what happened on the cremation grounds did not concern her, the ritual cleansing of a house polluted by death had to be performed as ordained in the text. This meant that rites like the Homa, the fire sacrifice, and oblations to the spirits of the ancestors, Pitradana, had to be performed, which in turn raised the question of who was to offer this oblation. Traditionally, the rite is vested either in the youngest son or in the eldest son. Now, I was the youngest, but I was an unbeliever. Besides, I was not going to participate in father's name in rituals which he had explicitly forbidden. So I refused. It thus devolved on Vasant to perform the rites. But I said to Vasant, "Look, we have grown up believing that Bhalchandra was our father's eldest son. He too has altered his name, discarded his own father's name, and used our father's name as his patronymic. We should therefore acknowledge him as the eldest son and request him to perform the oblations." Vasant agreed instantly. The decision met with opposition from the priest who had come to conduct the Homa and some of our distinguished neighbors. "An oblation is offered to only one's own progenitor," they insisted, "and Bhalchandra was not your father's natural son. He does not have the status to offer oblations to your father's soul." I had little time for that mumbo-jumbo and I refused to yield. Mother took me aside and asked me in a worried voice, "But isn't this wrong?" she said. "We hadn't even adopted Bhalchandra as a son." "That's your fault," I said. "You should have adopted him ritually instead of merely changing his name." She remained silent. Bhalchandra agreed to my suggestion. The ritual was completed as per the text and was followed by the feast celebrating the final release of the departed soul from human bondage. This is usually done on the 12th day. Next day, I was supervising the clearing up of the hall in which the sacrificial altar had been built, when at a little distance from it, in the direction in which Bhalchandra had offered oblations, concealed by a cupboard, I saw an unfamiliar object. I went and picked it up. It was a group photo. 4 gentlemen dressed in suits and ties in the fashion of the 40s were posing stiffly in chairs arranged in a row. I recognized 2 of them. They were the youngest brothers of Bhalchandra's father. I was flabbergasted. There was no possibility of Bhalchandra's father being in the photograph since he was by then long dead. It was, however, quite evident that the photograph was meant to represent the Gokan family at oblations to my father's soul. Someone had obviously borrowed it from Gokan house and brought it into our house. But who? who had arranged to have it placed in the direction in which Bhalchandra was to offer his oblations. I was horrified at the thought that Bhalchandra could act in such a perfidious manner. At that moment, as I was looking at the photograph, Mother entered the hall. She saw me staring at the photograph. She came and took it from my hand without batting an eyelid, and murmuring something inaudible, disappeared into the interior of the house. I have never seen the photograph again in my house. Thank you.
Thank you so much for such a fascinating reading. I suppose it's fitting that an incredible playwright would have such an incredible life. This brings us now to a short intermission, but before I let you go, what I'm going to do is introduce the performance that's going to come up next, so that when you return we can see the performance without any further delay. So what you're going to be seeing is a performance by Hari Krishnan and his company In Dance. Hari Krishnan is an internationally respected dancer, choreographer, teacher, and dance scholar. He is an award-winning dance maker who combines classical elegance and populist echoes. He is the World Danced Artist in Residence at the Department of Dance in Wesleyan University in Connecticut. Hari Krishnan is frequently commissioned as a forward-thinking, innovative choreographer with an original edge to create works in the United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Singapore, and India. He holds a master's degree in dance from York University and is currently completing his PhD from the dance department at Texas Women's University. Under the artistic direction of Hari Krishnan, Toronto's In Dance is proud to present the Canadian premiere of Fallen Rain. With original dance and music based on traditional material from South India, presented through a contemporary vein, Fallen Rain premiered to rave reviews in India in December 2010 and January 2011. Fallen Rain is a work for 7 dancers and 6 musicians. On January 4th, 2011, In Dance became the first Canadian dance company to be commissioned by the current Prince of Thanjavur and to present Fallen Rain at the ancient Thanjavur Palace, where these dances were traditionally performed in the 19th century. So please let's take our intermission and we'll return to Fallen Rain. Thank you.